What's up guys, my name is Ace, and while I generally had a really good time playing the Black Ops 6 beta, it was, at the end of the day, a beta build of the game, and therefore it was very limited in the features that we had access to. And so today, I wanted to make a video talking about 7 features that I'm really excited for launch with Black Ops 6 that we didn't have access to yet in the beta. Now, for most of these features, they're not brand new features for the Call of Duty franchise, but in many cases, we haven't seen them in quite a few years. And therefore, I'm still happy to see them return. And let's start it off with one of the big features that's returning with Black Ops 6. This is Theater Mode. Now for Theater Mode, we haven't seen that since Treyarch's last game, which was Black Ops Cold War. But from what I remember with Theater Mode in that game, it was so broken that like nobody ever really used it, or not very many people ever used it, because it was just constantly buggy and broken and didn't really work properly. In fact, at first, I could have sworn that we didn't even have Theater Mode in Cold War, but I did a little more digging and it's like, oh yeah, it was there, but I remember trying to use it a few times and it just didn't work properly, so I never touched it again. So obviously, with this version of Theater Mode coming to Black Ops 6, I'm really hoping it works a whole lot better than it did in Cold War. This is going to be the first time that we're seeing Theater Mode with the modern branch of the engine, since Black Ops Cold War was on that older branch of the engine. And another thing I'm curious to see with this is what it's going to look like feature-wise. They haven't really gone into any detail with Theater Mode at this point. They've just mentioned that it is coming. It is one of the selling points for this game. And I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out, especially with the Omni movement. I think there's going to be a lot of really crazy and cool clips that come out of Theater Mode. And I'm honestly just really curious to see what the community can put together as well. Next up, a feature that kind of has become a staple, at least for any non-Infinity Ward Call of Duty games in recent years, that we didn't have access to in the Black Ops 6 beta, but we will be seeing for launch. This is the advanced stats, or the expanded stats screen for your weapons. Now this is a feature where I haven't really seen them talk about this officially very much, if at all, but from the first reveal of Black Ops 6, we do have this image here, and on the bottom right, it does say View Detailed Weapon Stats. So there's clearly an option there, but then again, that appears to be from an earlier build of the game. However, with a little bit of digging through the Call of Duty Next live stream, I was also able to pull out this image right here, which on the right has an icon that says Toggle Details, and I believe that's effectively the same thing. It's to bring up the advanced stats. And then on top of that, of course, with the leaks that happened before the beta, there were tons of leaks there. In that leaked build of the game, we had access to advanced stats. And while of course I'm not able to show you the leak here, I can talk about it a little bit. And it looked like it's going to be a step forward when it comes to the advanced stats screen. Like, it looks like it's shaping up to be far better than any advanced stats screen we've seen so far in the Call of Duty franchise. And it was obviously still a work in progress. There were some missing stats in there, and it was obviously not fully fleshed out and polished. But you can at least see what they're going for with it, and based on what I was seeing there, it really looks like they're trying to push this forward. Like, one of the big differences with this advanced stat screen that was leaked is they have all of the body multipliers shown in a diagram, and you can see exactly how much damage you're dealing to each of those body multipliers. And for me, that's great. The better the advanced stat screen, the easier it is for me to do my job. As for the next feature that I actually noticed in that same image that I pulled from the Call of Duty Next live stream, this is the firing range. It looks like it will be returning with Black Ops 6, but again, this is something they haven't really officially talked about at all. We haven't seen any details with this, but it does appear we will be having a firing range, which will be a first for Treyarch outside of the multiplayer map called Firing Range, of course. And it turns out this is yet another area where there was a leak in the past showing what appears to be the firing range for Black Ops 6. And I've got to say, I'm hoping that was just a work in progress and it's not completed yet, because I wasn't really liking what I saw there. It looked like it was essentially the same style of firing range that we've been used to for the past couple of years with Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, but it had a very different aesthetic to it. So like structurally, it looked to be about the same, but all of the design and the textures were very different on it. And then also one thing I did notice in that leaked version is there was a recoil wall that would pop down and you could shoot at that. So that's at least one improvement that I'm hoping to see, and I'll be happy to see if they bring that to the game. But outside of that, I was really hoping for a little bit more room to move around in the firing range, especially with Omni movement in the equation. I'd like to be able to test things like dive to fire time, for instance. And with the current firing range that we have with Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, there's really not enough space to properly test that. Like, you might be able to get a little dive off here or there, but it's not enough room to really breathe. So time will tell on that one. I'm hoping that leaked firing range that we saw was just a work in progress and not representative of the final firing range that we'll see. But then again, I know there are limitations because they want that to be able to load very quickly, and therefore they can't have like a massive firing range area. So we'll just have to wait to see here. I am at least glad to see that a firing range will be coming to a Treyarch Call of Duty game. As for the next feature that is once again a returning feature, but a feature we haven't seen in a few years at least, this is Reticle Customization. And they have talked about that a little bit officially, so we know this is coming. You will be able to unlock different reticles for your optics, and therefore if you really like an optic frame but hate the default reticle, that's okay. You can go and unlock a different reticle for that and still use the frame that you like. And they also did confirm that they will work across modes. So if there's a zombies reticle that you really like and you want to use that in multiplayer, you can do that. You can go unlock it in zombies and use it in multiplayer. After that, a feature that may seem minor to some people, but I'm really excited for this to return, and I always look forward to this with Treyarch Call of Duty games. This is the Dark Ops calling cards. And for those that aren't familiar, these are generally really highly sought after calling cards. And with them, one of the interesting things is they're secret challenges. So you don't actually get to see what the challenge requirement is unless you search for it online. And generally speaking, these are awarded for like big one-off moments or really just strange circumstances that don't happen too often. Like I remember back from Black Ops 3, one of the Dark Ops challenges was destroy an HCXD, which is like an RCXD, with a combat axe. That's something that most people throughout the entire life cycle of the game, they'll never accomplish that, but it's something that you could actively work toward once you knew what the challenge was, and it would award a really cool calling card called Trick Shot. Also in Dark Ops, you'd get like Kill Chain, for instance, where you have to put 8 kills together in a short period of time, which is something that, again, most of the player base will probably never achieve that, and therefore when you do unlock this, it's pretty exciting. It's something that not everybody is going to have. And these are always my favorite calling cards to go for and to show off as well. They usually really mean something interesting, and it actually has people looking at your calling card and being like, hey, how did you get that? That's a really cool calling card. And I feel like over the years, a lot of that has been lost with how many calling cards you just get in bundles or the battle pass, and you don't have to actually earn them. So again, for some people, that may seem really minor, but for me, it's actually something I'm looking forward to quite a bit with Black Ops 6. As for the next feature that I'm looking forward to, that we have access to in literally every single Call of Duty game, at least since I believe COD 4, this is, of course, the Camo Grind. And at least based on what they've shown with the Camo Grind for multiplayer in Black Ops 6, it appears they're going with sort of a hybrid route where it has some familiar elements from older Call of Duty games, combined with the newer elements of the new camo systems that we've had. And at least on paper, based on what I'm seeing here, I'm really excited for this Camo Grind system because it incorporates headshots for your initial camos. You have to get a certain number of headshots, at least with most of the weapon types in multiplayer. And then once you complete a certain number of headshots, then you move on to the more specific challenges until you get to your mastery camos. And for me, I've always enjoyed the headshot camos because it's a type of camo where you don't have to totally change up how you play and potentially even harm your team's chance of winning the game because you're working on an individual challenge. You can play the game normally, you're just adjusting your point of aim and trying to land those headshots, and it is really rewarding when you do manage to get a bunch of headshots throughout a match. And then combining that with the modern camo systems, the good parts of the modern camo systems from what I'm seeing, I think this is going to be an excellent Camo Grind, and I'm really looking forward to it. And this just leaves us with one final feature that I'm really excited for that we obviously didn't have access to in the beta build of the game. This is traditional prestige. I have been missing this so much over the years, and I just can't wait to be grinding through those prestiges and having what I consider to be a meaningful player progression system that actually lasts beyond the first week or so of the game's life cycle because it actually has an impact on your gameplay experience as you grind through. Now, I know not everybody's into traditional prestige, but for me, I really am because it's all about the journey of progressing through each of those prestiges, and the games that you play early on in a prestige are going to play very different from the games that you play later on in a prestige, and that adds a whole lot more variety. It's also about pushing through adversity and being rewarded for pushing through that. You're actively setting yourself back and limiting yourself by prestiging, and then you push through and you level up to get through that. And if you don't like doing that, that's fine. You don't have to. You can just sit on level 55 the entire year if you want. But for me, this is so much more interesting than them just adding additional levels every season. I don't care about the levels because they don't actually interact with my gameplay experience at all. It's just a number that ticks up next to my name. And I honestly think just because of this prestige system, I'm likely to play Black Ops 6 much more than I've played any of the recent Call of Duty games that have not had traditional prestige. Now, of course, time will tell on that, but I really do suspect this is going to be the COD I play the most since Black Ops 4. And with that, that is going to wrap it up for today's video on just 7 features that I'm really excited for that we didn't have access to in the beta for Black Ops 6, and I'm looking forward to experiencing for launch. Now, I know, like I said at the beginning, none of these features are really like brand new to the Call of Duty franchise, but the thing is, with many of these, they're not showing up every single year. We only get them every few years, and some of them we haven't seen in quite a few years now, And then in other cases, it may be a similar system to what we've seen, but they've refined it or they've changed it. And I'm just looking forward to seeing the new version of this for Black Ops 6. Now, of course, these are just my thoughts, though, and I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. What are the features you are most excited for with the launch of Black Ops 6? They can be returning features from older Call of Duty games or brand new features. Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.